to another episode of Musings podcast. I'm your host, Logo Mildred, and I'm so happy that you're joining me on another Saturday for another amazing episode. On today's episode, I'll be musing about celebrity crushes. I'm sure every one of you, every one of us has had them in one point of their life or the other. Like, my mind usually creates these scenarios and little stories, whether it's during the day, like I could be awake, you're talking to me, and my mind is just creating a beautiful story in the background. Usually, that's how I come up with the stories that I write. That's why I usually say, like, my stories are there. Like, I know before I start writing a story, I've seen it in my mind from the moment it began. I saw how it went, like a movie, and how it ended. So I know, like, the story I'm writing right now, B for Boss, already know the ending of it because I've already seen it in my mind. So I usually have such moments. It's just that, like, the writing part, my mind has to be clear to remember those moments, to remember exactly the wording of what happened in the dream or in the daydream or whatever it is. And if my mind is not settled enough, then I cannot do that. So that's why I've not been able to write. I think this week I've managed to release episode 7, but for the past 3 weeks I wasn't able to do it. So as I was saying, I was just in my house the other day and I had this moment where I was just smiling about all the celebrity crushes I've had over the years. Some of them I've forgotten about them, and it's just not because I'm no longer attracted to them, or maybe I am no longer attracted to them. Maybe that would be the right way to put it. They're still handsome and they're still, when I see them, I'll still smile, but I no longer have that feeling towards them, the strong one that I used to have. And I don't know if other people are like that or not. This is the reason why I do not, before I get into the list of all my celebrity crushes. So when I see somebody that I'm attracted to, and he's all handsome, all beautiful, like just a gorgeous human being, if I'm attracted to them, that attraction usually is instantaneous. Like, I'll see them and I'll feel, that thing that you feel in your tummy, like a somersault in your tummy or something. I don't know what it's called, but I'll feel that and I'll be all mushy inside and have all those beautiful feelings. And it will be like that every time they'll be on the screen. I'll feel like that until I hear that they're either engaged or married. If they have a girlfriend, sometimes it might go, but then I'll be feeling some type of jealousy that is just weird because they're celebrities, meaning I do not know them in person. But as soon as they're single, that crush skyrockets again. All the feelings I used to feel, they wake up from the slumber they were in when this person had a girlfriend. But if they're engaged, that one, I don't know what happens. And especially if they get married, it just disappears. Or if I know somebody in real life and I have a crush on them and I'd never spoken to them, and then somebody tells me, you know what, he's actually married, that crush I used to have on them dies on the spot. I don't know why. Like, no matter how handsome you are, no matter how good you are, you become something that is unattainable, of course, but then you just become, I don't want to say disgusting because you're not disgusting. I don't know how to describe that feeling, but it's like the crush just disappears. It just goes. And I remember I used to have a crush on Pascal Tokodi, a very huge one. And I thought that maybe it's just the being married thing that will turn me off, until he was celebrating his 25th birthday at the time, and I realized I'm a couple of years older than him. That crush ended right there and then. On his Instagram, while I was watching him celebrate his birthday, the crush I had on him ended there, and I felt so disgusting. And it's not like I'm really 10 years older than him. No, I think it's either 3, 4, or 5 years older than him, if I'm not mistaken. It's not that big, but I remember he was turning 25 at the time, and I was a little bit older than him, and I just was like, no, he's a kid. He just became a kid all of a sudden, and ever since, never crushed on him ever again. But yeah, that one, I was just shocked. I was like, I do not have a problem with dating somebody who's younger than me, like by 5 years or something, because one of my favorite crushes is Harry Styles, and Harry Styles is 3 years younger than me. And I've never felt like disgusted about dating him. But I guess that's something different because in my mind. Okay, so I don't know exactly when this was, but a couple of years ago, my grandma and I were talking, and she told me, like, if I ever wanted to date an older person, then it better be a white person, because dating a person who's like 20 years older than me or something like that and they're black will just feel weird. And I usually listen to the things that my grandma tells me, and they impact me so greatly. So that's why if I'm going to do something, if I'm making a decision about a job or whatever, I usually tell her, like, before I even tell her what I'm about to tell her, like, do not say anything negative, because it will stay in my head. Because this thing she told me about dating, and it has always stuck in my mind. I'm like, yeah, I'm all for dating somebody who's older because I need the maturity and stuff, but it cannot be a black person. Like, if I'm dating an older person and they're black, the oldest is like 10 years older than me. Above that, especially as I grow older, mm-mm. And it has just always seemed weird, because I'll be like, am I dating my grandpa or my dad or something? And it has stayed in my head like that. So I don't think I can date like above 10 years older than me. And 5 years is younger than me is the cap. So I cannot date younger than that, because again, same thing. So I think this thing about Harry Styles being younger, but I can still date him and not feel disgusted, is one of those things that I think subconsciously they're there because of what my grandmother told me about dating somebody who's older. Like, they better be white. And it makes sense in a way in my head, because then I cannot be related to you, or I won't be looking at you and being like, yeah, you could be my grandpa. For whatever reason, that makes sense. So I was like, yeah, Harry Styles is one of my favorite crushes. And I just love that guy so much. I know he's disappeared for a while, and then he's come back with a new album and everything. I saw him on SNL, and it was amazing, 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 amazing. Just seeing him after all that time. I love the way he talks. I know people complain that he talks slow and all of that, but I love it. I love the way he talks. His accent is so mixed up right now. Like, you can't really tell he's from Britain or anything, but if you really listen, you will know. But I still love him. I don't even know why. Because I remember during One Direction days, I only used to listen to them on radio, like a couple of their songs. They weren't as big in Kenya as they were in, the States and Europe. But it's because back then we didn't have a lot of internet and stuff. The 2010, 2011, there was, but not as much as it is right now. I think Wi-Fi was just a couple of people had it and stuff. YouTube, did we have YouTube in 2010? Maybe we did, and if it was there, then it was still very new. So a lot of people didn't have access to it or something. Again, because of the Wi-Fi. Maybe it was. I think it was. Maybe, I don't know. Correct me in the comment section. But the thing is, I didn't have access to them, but I love their songs. So a couple of years later, I started listening to them again more and more. And they saw me through one very difficult moment in my life. I think it was in 2021, the beginning of 2021, I believe. That's when I sort of reacquainted myself with One Direction now properly. And I remember I was watching a video of one of their songs, and that's when I was like, oh my God, this guy is really cute and is really, really funny. So everybody had their favorite on One Direction. And musically, I loved all of them because they each had something they brought into the group, regardless of whatever anybody else says. But I loved each and every one of them because I felt like each and every one of them had their own strength. And sometimes I would just close my eyes and hear the songs, that I'll be like, that's Niall, that's Harry, that's Zayn, that's Liam, may you continue resting in peace, and that's Louis. But I just loved Harry. And the more I got to know about him, the more I loved him. I don't know. It was just so crazy and so, so weird. Because, like, this person, we've never met them. And the feelings that you have for these celebrity crushes are usually weird, because you feel like you know them because you have seen them on TV, you have seen them on your screen all the time. They've acted, they've sung, they've done what. So whenever you want to have access to them, you can just go to YouTube, put on an interview that they participated on, and you just listen to them. So you know them, but they do not know you. You can follow them on social media. You can message them, even though now most of them, they're blocked it. So you can't really message them. But you feel like you're connected to these people. And so that's how I felt with Harry. And there are things that I was going through in 2021, as I said, and he healed them in a weird way without him being here with me, without him ever seeing me, without him knowing me. But because I knew him, because I knew of him, because I listened to his music, because I don't know, I looked at that beautiful face with those dimples and that hair, and I was just in love. And it's crazy. But that happened to me with Harry. And up to now, I know he's in a relationship with someone. I won't mention her name, and I respect their relationship. But as I said, when they're still girlfriends, I'm like, yeah, let's see what happens. So if something different happens, I'm like, okay, if they go extra, they get married, maybe the crush will end. But with Harry, I don't know if it will. And that was just one of the crushes that have lasted through the years. That's why I started with him. Leave alone Pascal, but him. So I've had a lot of crushes over the years. One of them, as I said, was Pascal Tokodi. The other one was Harry Styles. The other one was Ian Veneracion. Ian Veneracion, if you do not know him, he's a Filipina actor, and I've always just loved him. He acted in a couple of shows, but you can just Google him. He's from the Philippines, and he sings, and he's also an actor. He's older than me, like way older, I think. He has like, I think, 15 or 20 years on me. But he has one of those faces that do not age. Like, he's just a handsome guy. He is married though. But every time I've seen one of his telenovelas or teleseries, as they call them in the Philippines, I just feel something warm in my heart. And I love that man so much. The way he smiles, the way he looks. I don't know. I'm talking about this and I can see his face. You should see me right now. I mean, the smile that is on my face right now, because I can picture him smiling. I can picture him talking. He's always acted as a good person, by the way, unless there's something that is acted on that I did not see, that he was a bad person. But every one of the shows I've watched him, he was a good person. I think one of them actually is The Promise. I think it was called The Promise, with Catherine Bernardo and Daniel Padilla. I think he was Catherine Bernardo's character's dad. But yeah, I think it's The Promise, if I'm not mistaken. It's somebody, I'm sure if you've watched Filipina telenovelas from back in the day, it's somebody that you have watched. But anyway, it's somebody that you know. I know I said, if you're married, they usually just, the crush ends. But this guy, I met him while he was already married. So I sort of started crushing on him while he was already married. And I've just been unable to shake it. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, Ian. But there's a way that I usually just feel whenever I see him. And as I said, as I'm thinking about him right now, I'm just smiling, and it's just an amazing feeling that he gives me, which is weird. I know it's disgusting. I know, but what can we do? It's just a crush. Like, there's nothing I will do about it. Like, if I met him in real life right now, I wouldn't like jump on him or embarrass myself in front of him or anything, or embarrass his wife or, his children, because he has grown up kids. So yeah, great respect to him, but that man is a very handsome guy. The other one is Jensen Ackles, cause yo, Jensen Ackles is also married. And I met him while he was married, because he was already on Supernatural. When I started watching Supernatural, he was already married for a couple of years, I think, by then. And he already had kids. This guy is in his 40s now. And I think he's everyone's boyfriend, internet boyfriend, everyone's crush, both male and female alike. You watch Jensen Ackles, he has this beautiful aura that you watch him and you just want to be his friend or something more. Yeah. Mm. And I know, again, it's disgusting. Very, very. But he is one of those ones. Like, I don't think about him. Actually, him and Ian, because they're both married, I never just fantasize about them. Okay? Like, it's a crush. I see them, I feel all warm and gooey and fuzzy and everything. But I never fantasize about being with them, because I know it cannot happen. But I just look at them and I'm like, oh my God, this guy is so handsome. Like he says something or he smiles and I just feel myself blushing and doing that stupid giggle that people do when they are all in love and stuff. It's a lot of things that I should not be feeling. But Jensen Ackles is a very handsome guy. If you do not know who he is, he acts as Dean on Supernatural. I do not remember his character on The Boys, but he is amazing. Google him. If ever God blesses me with children, one of them will have to be named Jensen just because of him. Because, yo, he's just amazing. But yeah, that he's the other one. Chris Evans, oh my God. Chris Evans recently got married and they have recently announced they have a child. Did they announce or was it just announced? I don't know. I read it online that they have a child. Yo, the love I used to have for Chris Evans, and which was weird because the first time I saw him was on What's Your Number? A movie from back in the day. I think it was in 2011, 2012, or 2013. That movie, that's when it was made. And I mean, that's when it came out. And I remember watching him in that movie. Nothing. Felt nothing. I liked him. Yes, I liked his character, but felt nothing. Until a couple of years ago when I started loving Marvel movies, and his was the first one, Captain America. Actually, not the first one because we start with Iron Man. But then there's Captain America, and I saw him. That moment where he comes from the capsule, like after he's been supercharged into this superhuman, that is Captain America. The way the lady reacts, the lady, was it she a sergeant or just an officer? I don't remember, but the way she reacts, well, she sees the pecs and everything. She takes her hand and wants to touch them, but then she retreats. The way she reacts is how I reacted. I was like, yo, this is real. And maybe it's not even love, it's lust, but yo, hey, that man looked fine. And I remember just going, oh my God, this guy was in What's Your Number, but I didn't love him like this. What's happening? And I've loved him ever since. Crazy, I know. Loved him. Felt like he was the kindest. Loved the way he laughs while touching his boobs and other people's boobs, by the way, especially if they're male. And because he just loves love and he loves laughing and having fun with his friends. So a couple of, was it last year, but one when he married, I was sad. But for some reason, I was okay. As I said, I hear that you're married and it just fades. That crush just fades. So I still like him as a human being because he's great and he's done such an amazing job with his acting and stuff. All his shows, everything he has ever been on, even the ones that were just disgusting, the character was disgusting, he was still funny in them and just fun to look at. But yeah, Chris Evans was one of them. And I don't know. I haven't felt for him what I used to feel for him since I had that he had a wife. And then now that he has a child, I can't even go there. And it's different again, as I said, with Ian and Jensen Ackles, because them I already met them while they're already married. So the crash started with them already in their marriages. But with Chris, it just faded pop immediately. So I still like him, but and he's just cute Chris. But yeah, I wish him the best in his marriage and his new family. He seems happier, if I'm not mistaken. The other one is King T'Challa. Oh my God. When he died, and I know I'm not using his real name because I don't want to cry, but so I'd rather just call him King T'Challa. When he died in real life, it broke me. I didn't know that he was married, by the way, before he died. I think I heard about the wife after he passed on, because that's when you started coming out about him and what he left behind and stuff like that. And oh, he had a wife. But before, I remember just watching him and going like, oh my God, he's so cute. And I don't know, I fantasized about, meeting him, I don't know, somewhere in Kenya because he had come on safari and stuff like that. Those crazy things that people think about. But yeah, I fantasized about those things and I loved it so much that moment until he passed on. And then we heard that he had a family, and then that passion and that whatever it is that I was feeling, that crash, I don't know, it turned into something else. And I felt so bad. Like, he shouldn't have died when he did. He was so young, still full of life and full of good things to do, like in this life. He had so much potential, by the way, because even the movies he did towards the end, everything he had ever put his hand on was just amazing. But yeah, he was one of my celebrity crushes, and he'll always have a special place in my heart, just as King T'Challa, and just as him being the person that he was, because I believe he was a really beautiful soul. Everybody that met him says the same. The other one is Mohammed. He was a reporter on Citizen. What is his full name? I remember he used to be a reporter on Citizen TV, and then he went to work for Ruto's government, but he used to be a news anchor on Citizen TV. My grandmother still calls him my husband to date, because he will come on TV and I just be like, that's my husband. And it's funny that I've forgotten his other name, but I remember he used to be on screen with Janet Bogwa. So I'm sure you can remember who it is. It's fun. I'm terrible with names, by the way. I'm very, very terrible with names. I remember his face because as I mentioned these people, I see their faces. So I remember who it was. If I saw him, I'll be like, yeah, this is the guy I used to have a crush on. But then I do not remember his other name. He's Muhammad something. And my grandmother still calls him my husband up to date because, as I said, I used to see him on TV and be, oh, my husband, oh, my husband. I believe he has a family as well. But I didn't know that at the time. But anyway, he's just, I felt like I would just mention him because he's one of my celebrity crushes. I haven't seen him in a couple of years, and since this government took over, since he left Citizen TV, that is. So I haven't seen him since. But yo, I used to love him. I used to have this huge crush on him. Every time I will come on screen and just be like, oh my God, oh my God. The other Kenyan celebrities, and I'm not going to mention their names because they're all married. It's a couple of them. They're musicians, they're actors, and I will not mention their names, as I said, because they're married. And it's just that they're the good ones. Because the ones who are not married, the ones who are, you hear scandals of them with so and so, another scandal of them with so and so, another scandal doing he's a baby daddy, and such things just disgust me, and I'm just like, no, ew. But the good ones are the ones who are married, and they're the ones that I've had celebrity crushes on. But then there's nothing you can do about it because you just look at them and you know in your heart that, oh my God, you know how much I love you, Mr. Man. Hey, if you only knew. If you only knew. But then it just disappears with time, right? Because you like them, yes, and you have a crush on them, yes, but you also respect the fact that they are a father, they're a husband, and they belong to their families, and so you cannot do anything about it. And that, as much as you respect them and you have a crush on them, you are okay with loving them from afar. And it doesn't even come in my mind. I've never like imagined them in a fantasy scenario with me. But there are guys that I've seen before and I've been like, oh my God, if you are not married, you would have definitely gotten it, like all of it. But yeah. And forgive me for the way I'm speaking about them, but it's true. That's why I say it's celebrity crashes, and they never go anywhere. Although I've had a couple of stories where somebody, like a fan, had a crush on their, a celebrity, and they met you at a convention or at a concert or something, and they ended up falling in love and getting married, which is beautiful. But with mine, I know there's no way. The ones I've said in Kenya, the ones that are nice, all of them are taken. So there's no way I would ever be with them. And then the ones that are abroad, Ian Veneration, Chris Evans, Harry, and Jensen Ackles, all of them, there's no way we can ever be like in the same area. And even if we were, I don't think I'm their type. These people usually date, I don't know, models and skinny actors, and I'm just not that. I'm sure I wouldn't be their type. They are my type, but I wouldn't be their type. And I'm okay with that, okay? Like, I'm okay with that. That's why it's okay for me to love without them loving me. I'm good with that. So I know I'm not like sick and, hoping that, oh my God, if I ever meet Harry, he will just look at me and fall for me. I'm not crazy. I know it wouldn't happen, but I enjoy fantasizing about it. Just thinking different scenarios. Oh, I met Harry Styles because he had come to Kenya to go on a safari, and we both happened to be at Masai Mara at the same time. One, I'm broke. How am I going to Masai Mara? Oh, I was in London, and as I was walking on the streets, I bumped into him. He was going on one of his walks, and oh my God, he looked into my eyes and we fell in love. It was love at first sight. Even as I say it, it's just so crazy. There are others by there. I'm not going to mention all of them because there are many. Let's not start on the Mexican ones, like the telenovela ones. Let's not go to the Filipino ones, the other Filipino ones, because in Philippines I have a couple. Let's not go there. Even just the US, there are others that are there. Well, there's Francois Arnaud. He's Canadian. Recently gotten back into my radar. I saw him a couple of years ago on Schitt's Creek and I loved him. But then recently he started on Heated Rivalry and he's been all over the press and stuff. And I've been like, oh my God, Francois, you're so hot. And that's a blessing from God. Like just the fact that I'm existing in the same time that you are, I'm thanking God for this. Totally, totally. Stephen Amell deserves an honorable mention, although again he's married, so I'm not going to get into it. But yeah, sometimes there's a way he smiles. I've been rewatching Arrow by the way recently, and there's scenes that he smiles in a particular way, and I'm just like, oh my God. But he's taken, he's a husband, and he's a father. I should respect that. There are other celebrities that I've had crushes on, and it's just weird, as I said, I know. But my favorite crush, one that I know that should he ever marry, I will cry like real tears. I didn't cry for Chris, and I know for a fact that I won't cry for Harry. But if Trevor Noah gets married today, I will cry as if he's cheating on me, as if he's dead. Because, listen, I know it sounds crazy. I know he and I do not know each other. I know we might never meet. I know it. Logically, I know he does not know me. He doesn't even know that I exist. I've followed him for, I think, 9 years. This year we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary since we met, and they put met in quotes, since we met. Because it was a couple of years ago, well, 9+ years ago, where my friend, he recommends comedies for me, and he loves Dave Chappelle and he loves other comedians. As I've said before, I do not like Dave Chappelle that much, but he's a great fan of his. So I remember back then he had introduced me to another comedian. He plays with this, what is it called? The ones who play with this, they're not dolls. What are they called? There's a term for it and it's a very hard term. But why am I so terrible with names? Because I can see his face, but I've just forgotten. But he has these caricatures. Is that what they're called? Whatever. Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. But he does his comedy with them. And so my friend introduced me to him. I watched a couple of his clips that were on YouTube at the time, all of them. And then when I was done, I was like, okay, I've watched all of them. I've repeated them a couple of times. I've laughed my ass off. So who else? And then he tells me, check out this guy, Trevor Noah. He's South African, but he's now living in the States and working on The Daily Show. He had just started on The Daily Show. Back then, Jon Stewart had just left. And Trevor had just taken over. It was like during the first days when he still had his hair cut short, and back then, at the beginning. And I started the Daily Show journey with him. That's how I started loving the Daily Show. And actually, that's how I get my American news, actually, because at least it's funny. I watch Stephen Colbert, who I also had a crush on him at some point, and is one of the older guys that I would be like, yeah, daddy, but let's not go there. And then I also watch Jimmy Kimmel sometimes. But the Daily Show was my introduction to watching American news consistently. And then the Late Late Show with this guy that left and went back to London. But anyway, the Daily Show. I met Trevor Noah, and immediately, I knew I was in trouble. Because how did I just fall for this guy that I've never met, I've never known? But I was just like, yeah, if he tried to date me, I would not say no. Unless he like really gave me a bad vibe and the hugest of red flags. but he didn't seem like a red flag. He seemed like the biggest green flag, and I just fell for him. I remember downloading his comedy from YouTube at the time, watching it, like Payback the Funny and a couple of others. I watched them so many times that it got to a point I could tell you word for word of what he was saying, or those comedy specials. And then I followed his story. I Googled him. I do not like stalk these people, by the way. I'm not like constantly online checking their pages and stuff, Googling them just to see what they're doing and where they're at in their life. I don't do that. But I remember I did that for the first time, just like I did with Harry. Just Google, know where he is, what, like his story, sort of. And I did. And then he wrote his book, Born a Crime, loved it, read it, listened to the audio. And I know it's weird. Please judge me if you must. Judge me. I'll not even tell you not to judge me if you must, because I know what I'm saying is crazy. And that's the thing with celebrity crushes. They're just crazy things that we create in our heads about people that don't even know that we exist. If we died, they wouldn't even be shook. But if they died, we'll cry for them for years and years. So that's how my crush began on him. And I've just loved him ever since. I followed his whole journey through The Daily Show until he left. I did not want him to leave, but I understood after 7 years he was done and he needed to do other things. I've never gone to see him perform live for like one of his comedies, and I'm praying that if God should give me money in this lifetime, I'll be in a room with that man at some point, like just watch him do comedy live. I want to, like, he won't know who I am and everything, but I'll be there and I'll sit and I'll look at him up close and I'll know that I was in a room with Trevor Noah and he made me laugh. I'll take a video of him like this and be like, oh my God, I actually was in the same room with this guy. And if I'm able to, and they're doing VIP passes, I can't even pay for that. I want to have enough money just to take a photo with him, just to shake his hand at least once. Because him, I don't know. And it's like every time he pops up on my socials, whatever he's doing is just amazing. His comedy aside, him being on The Daily Show aside, the way his friends talk about him, because now he has a podcast, the What Now podcast, the way his friends talk about him every time he invites them over, I mean, he just seems like the best human being. I know he's not perfect because he has had relationships that have ended. Whether he was the problem or whether they were the problem, you never know. But the way his friends talk about him, all of them, and I know their names by the way, because they're in his podcast, and I feel like they're my friends too, which is weird. But yo, if I were to be told, choose between one of your crushes to be your husband right now, I'd say Trevor Noah. I'd choose him 1,000 times over. Always and forever, I'd choose him because he's just so kind and so smart. I love that man's brain more than anything. Leave alone him being handsome, and I love that afro of his. Leave those aside. He's very intelligent. He's very, very kind, very nice. His IQ is, I know I said he's smart, but his IQ, I think, is just, his IQ, his EQ, they, all of them, amazing. He knows how to read a room, and you can tell he's a people person from the way he interacts with people when he's interviewing them on his podcast. The way he listens, you can tell that he's a good listener. He gives them time to talk before he comes up with another question. And he's conversing with these people. And usually people write questions down. I don't think that he does, because when he's conducting an interview, I'm sure he prepares for the interview and he crams the questions he's supposed to ask. But the way he does his interviews, I wish I could do that at some point in my life. He encourages me in ways that even I do not understand. I just love him. Like, totally. And if I ever meet somebody else and get married, I think I'll tell him that, yo, if I ever meet Trevor, no, just know that I'll behave like a fool. The others, I said I will not behave like a fool in front of them. And even as I said, I know probably because I know myself, I won't. But there'll be signs, there'll be things, little things that I'll do that people around me will be like, hey, yo, control yourself a little bit. But I love him. Like, Trevor is just one of those people, I don't know. I've placed him so high in my life, and my standard for a man at the moment is Trevor Noah. Be him, be like him. Show me that you can be like him. His money aside, like just him, the human being, the man that he is. Show me that you're a green flag like him. You're as intelligent, as kind, as loving, as appreciative, as generous. During COVID-19, this guy used to pay his staff using his salary, like something like that, allegedly. I don't know. If do you know how good you have to be to do something like that? So yeah, of all the celebrity crushes, that's why I wanted to talk about him the last, because he is just the best thing that has happened in my life. Meeting him in quotes 9 years ago, that was the best thing I ever did. Like the best thing that's ever happened to me is just getting to be a part of his universe somehow. And he's one of those people that I'm again glad that we are existing at the same time. Because even if he does not know me, if we may never meet, because yeah, I might say that one day things will change, have a better life, I'll have money, and I might die broke. And what in what shape maybe? Ishindwe, but it can happen. So I might never get to meet him. And it's not okay, but it's fine. It's life. But just the fact that I exist during the same time that he does, that I've gotten to know, and I put that in quotes as well, a man like him in my life, the best thing to have ever happened. Because I believe he's just one of the best people. And it will take a lot for me to hate him. Like if he did something, if he was ever involved in a scandal, God forbid, but it would have to be something so bad, so rotten, like Epstein list kind of bad, in order for me to be like, yeah, I'm washing my hands over this guy. I never want to hear his name again. But as long as he continues being the man he is right now, I think I'll forever love him. Even if I'll have my own husband, I'll respect my husband, yes, but there's a part of me that will forever hold a torch for him. And I know it's crazy, I know it's weird, and it makes no sense. I know it. But every time I watch his podcast, I listen to him interacting with his friends and the tidbits that he gives us about his personal life during those moments with his friends. I'm just left in awe, honestly. And I think I fall deeper and deeper in love with him, even though I've never met him. And it's weird and it's crazy. I know it. I'll say it 1,000 times on this episode. I know it's weird and I know it's crazy. But the heart wants what it wants. And so I know he has dated before. And my YouTube likes just crashing my heart sometimes, because there's just this ones that a video, like those shots on YouTube, one popped up of him and the females that he has dated before. And then every once in a while, it will just pop up, because I clicked on it back then just to see. But it was the last girlfriend that we publicly know that he was with. And it keeps coming because I like her. I like her because I've seen her in like 2-3 shows, and I loved her in those shows. And every now and again, YouTube just does that. It pops up, the same video pops up. And I'm like, I don't want to see that. You don't know how much you're crushing my heart right now. I never watch it again because I just watched it the one time, but every once in a while. So him, I know for a fact, the time that he decides to settle down, because I know he has said a couple of things about it. Before he used to say he doesn't want to, or is not sure about it. Now maybe he wants or is not sure. Again, I do not know. But if he ever does, if he ever decides to settle down with somebody that is not me, oh my God. Even just thinking about it makes me unhappy. I know I'll cry tears like, oh, like I've never done before. And it will make no sense. I know it. It will make no sense. There's a time I cried for Harisas because he had done something stupid online, but that was a while ago. And now I think all my energy, all my focus has been tuned to this one man because of the things I know about him now. And he's the kind of man that I want in my life. So I think it's because of that. Like if you ask me what's your type, I'll be like, my type is Trevor Noah. So be like him, and maybe you and I can talk. I don't know. He inspires me, and I just love him. And he's my hugest celebrity crush. I mean, the best. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I know it has been a weird conversation, weird musings, but as I said, they are my thoughts, they are my musings. So take them as you wish. If you judge me in this episode, I agree. Please do. Because it's maddening, it's crazy, it's weird, it's all of those things. It can even be disgusting if you want, because I'm fantasizing about people I've never met. People who have their own families and their own lives and they might never meet me. People who I'm not even their type, probably. Because people usually go like, Trevor Noah's type is white women. It's okay. He doesn't have to know me. He doesn't have to love me for him to be my celebrity crush. And this episode was about celebrity crushes. So understand that and respect that. And respect the fact that I respect him and his wishes. Like if he married, I'll cry about it, but I'll never go online and bash the woman or, anything about his life. I'll just be like, okay, congratulations. I'm happy for you. And I hope that, he meets somebody who will take care of him and treat him well. Like just today, I was fantasizing about him and I'm okay with it. He makes me happy. You know how they say when you're depressed or anxious or, going through a bad time, you go to your happy place? My happy place is me married to him and we're having our life, we have our children and we're living somewhere peaceful and he's doing his thing, his comedy. Even when he leaves home and goes for his tours, I'm okay because I know he's coming back and he's my husband. So he's my happy place. Weird as it is, he is. And so that's why I'm saying, like, if he ever got married, I think I'll cry because I'll be mourning those fantasies and because I'll know that I'll have to stop thinking about him that way. And I'll be losing my happy place. So, yeah, that will crush me, honestly. It will. So, yeah, forgive me if you found this to be too weird. That was not my intention, but I get it because it's all weird, as I've said 1,000 times on this podcast already. But yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. So tell me in the comment section if you have celebrity crushes and who they are, and if you think about them the way I think about mine, if you fantasize about them, if you let it go whenever you hear that they're married, or when they're married you're like, why not me? All of those crazies. Tell me in the comment section down below. Tell me who you is. And yeah, let's discuss about it. Tell me on my Instagram, Mimi's Musings Podcast on both, and I'll be glad to know. And I promise not to judge you, by the way, as you will probably judge me after listening to this. I still bake. If you want, make your orders and I'll make them for you. Remember to please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so that whenever I upload something new, you're going to be amongst the first people to